Green Tree Productions is proud to present Duncanville Weekly News. It's the good news just for the City of Champions, Duncanville, Texas. And now, here's your host, John Thompson.
Hello, world, America, Texas, and Duncanville, and welcome to this edition of Duncanville Weekly News for the middle of February 2018. Glad you're logged on and watching. Well, we've got a good show for you this time, again, and let's start with something that's coming up real soon that you'll want to attend.
Hello, I'm Steve Rutherford of the Duncanville Noon Lions Club.
And I'm Don McBurnett of the Duncanville Noon Lions Club and past president.
We're here to tell you about the 26th annual Las Vegas Night.
It's going to be held on Saturday, February 24th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Duncanville.
The theme this year will be the Paradise Club, and the doors will open at 6 o'clock.
The 26th annual Las Vegas Night has arrived, and it's our largest fundraiser for our Lions Foundation, which supports local charities and scholarship opportunities for our students.
Tickets are available for $90 per person. There'll be $100 at the door, and they are available at the Duncanville Chamber of Commerce and Redbird Lanes, and sponsorship opportunities are still available.
It's Saturday, February 24th at the Hilton Garden Inn. Doors open at 6 p.m. Hope to see you there.
Well, as most of you know, the UIL recently realigned, and here's what came out. Last week, the Texas University Interscholastic League, the governing body for high school competitions, announced their biannual realignment of schools, and for Duncanville, it was a shocker. Oh, the Panthers will be with the Longhorns and Eagles, but they're from Dallas and Richardson now. As you can see by this sketchy map, the Panther teams must go all the way to Richardson and 3 sides of Dallas for their district play for the next 2 years. We had a chance to catch up with Athletic Director Clint Harper for his response. We are visiting with Clint Harper, the Athletic Director at Duncanville, and Clint, this is the first time we've had a chance to visit. Tell us quickly about some of your background.
I grew up in East Texas, son of Coach. Coached 35 years. He's in the East Texas Coaches Hall of Honor. So I grew up around sports, grew up around football, basketball, anything that had a round thing, I played it. And so that's just the way I was raised. Growing up in East Texas, it's a very, very tough district. Grew up always playing Longview. Of course, that's one of the longest rivalries in the state of Texas. Played a number of really, really good athletes that went on and played either pro basketball, pro football. And so I had a lot of background playing really good athletes in some really tough districts.
Your first job was where?
First job, actual paying job, was at Troop, Texas in East Texas. I'd actually been a student coach at Hardin Simmons. I was the very first student coach. Coach Jimmy Keeling allowed me to be a student coach, so I was coaching my roommate. I was a receivers coach, and my roommate was one of my receivers, so that was always an interesting dynamic. My first paying job was Troop High School. I got to be the offensive coordinator my very first year. We were fortunate enough to go 4 rounds deep, and actually, funny story, actually played Chad Morris. I've always told my head coach, Kevin Flanagan, if we'd have beaten Chad Morris, I might be where Chad's at nowadays. And was able to take that job and then just keep moving up through the ranks. Got to go to Jacksonville where the McCowan brothers played. Obviously, still a couple of them still playing in the NFL. Was able to then go to Baytown. I was able to go down to the Houston area, experience Houston for a couple of years, and those are some of the things I've tried to forget. Being down around those refineries and all that weather. Had to leave a couple of times with Rita and a couple other hurricanes, and so we're able to get out of the Houston area, got back up into the Austin area, where I ended up becoming head coach at Leander High School. And then got the call to go back home, go back to Marshall, get a lifelong dream of being the head coach and AD there, and was there from 2013 until I was hired here last February.
Well, belated welcome to Duncanville.
Thank you, Mr. John. I'm really, really proud to be here. Love it here.
Well, Clint, the UIL recently did their realignment. Tell us about the process. Most people know what the results are now. They want to know what the process of realignment is every 2 years.
Well, the UIL, what they'll do is in that second year, in October, they'll start collecting the numbers, and they do a really good job nowadays, even more so now than they did even 5-10 years ago of getting your enrollment numbers. It starts in October. They have what's called a snapshot date, and so they'll get your numbers from a certain day in October, and those numbers go into determining your district and how many teams are in which classification is 6A, which schools are 5A, and so that's where they start. And once they get those numbers together, then they have a certain number that they have to get in 6A, they have a certain number they have to get in 5A, and so that's how they work their way down into getting where they want the numbers to be. Once they get those numbers and they've determined who's going to be 5A and 6A, then they start looking at where they're going to place those districts. And of course, obviously last week was a big shocker for us, because when we got our packet, and every realignment, they always do it on that February, usually first Tuesday in February, every 2 years. And you go to a certain area and they give you a packet. You look through your packet, and that's how you find out which district you're in. Nowadays, technology, they provide it for all the fans and everybody on the internet also at 9 o'clock that morning. And so you can really find out at the same time we're finding out, everybody can. And so we were just kind of really shocked that we were split, obviously, from DeSoto and Cedar Hill, and the rumor was that we were going to actually be with them, but we were going to be with the Mansfield schools, and so that was what we were told. But again, I learned back in 1998, back in my very first job, you just never know what the UIL is going to do.
And I think you predicted that to me. There's a rubber band involved in this. How does that work, Coach?
Well, the rumor is that the UIL, and again, I don't know if this is myth, but this is always what I've been told, is they go, and once they determine those classifications, they put tacks up on the board for every one of those schools that they've got in each classification. And supposedly, if that rubber band can reach around all of the tacks, then that can be a district, no matter how far it is. As long as that rubber band can stretch and reach to all the tacks, then that can be a district. Again, that's a rumor.
Seems to be a lot of 9 and 10 team districts now. What's going on with that?
Well, they got a lot of complaints. UIL got a lot of complaints with the 5 and 6 team districts, that you were putting a lot of 1 and 9, 2 and 8 football teams and teams in the playoffs that weren't really worthy of being in the playoffs. And so what they did is they went the opposite direction. They went away from the 5 and 6 team, and they actually said, well, all right, well, we're going to make sure everybody earns their spot into the district. So you look at 6A, I think there's only one district in the entire state that's 6 teams or less. And so pretty much everything's 8, 9, or 10 teams now. So you're going to have to earn your spot in 6A football, and also the same thing in the Big 5A. And so they really have listened to the people, and they want to make sure the playoffs in every sport, people qualify. They just don't want to have to win one game and you get into the playoffs. And that's what was happening when you're in a 6-team district and you're taking 4 teams. All you got to do is win one game, and so you might win one district game and be in the playoffs.
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting to go a shorter distance to by district than district this time. Coach, thanks for explaining all this to us, and best of luck to you.
Thank you, Miss John. I sure do appreciate all you do for our kiddos.
Hi, I'm Panther Bill Fahey. When I'm not up at the ball field cooking burgers, I love to watch the hoops.
Hoops? Did you say hoops? We got your hoops right here in the Hoops Corner on Duncanville Weekly News, with all the highlights from the latest Duncanville Panther and Pantherette basketball games, and a peek at upcoming games. The Hoops Corner is brought to you by James Memorial Chapel,
The Wolverton Company, Singla Dental, Leon Miller, Commercial Properties.
And now in the Hoops Corner, here's John with all the Hoops highlights.
Hello, Duncanville basketball fans, and welcome back to the Hoops Corner. Well, we're winding it down now, and let's start this week's highlights with the Panthers. They had 3 district games, and here's how they did. Tuesday, it was Irving Nimitz in town. The Vikings have won 1 district game with no surprises coming in this game, and Stephen rebounds and scores early. Then he disguises a pass to Cam as a shot for 2. And then Cam hits a floater. Bryant misses a well-defended layup, but Stephen taps it back to him and he scores. CJ Snowbird, Stephen, dunk. And after 1, it's 17-3, Panthers. In the second, Jacoby. 3. And then Gerald scores on a break. Miles Bennett scores on an off-the-glass pass from CJ. And at halftime, it's 40-11, Panthers. Nothing really changed in the second half as Stephen scores on an inbounds play. And Jacoby steals and takes it to the house. It's late in the quarter, and CJ nails a 3-point shot to beat the buzzer. And after 3, it's 61-23, Panthers. Check out this pass from Chris Thompson to CJ for 2. Talon Cole is in and hits from 14 feet. Jeremiah Coleman scores on a break. And Chris hits a smooth jump shot. Final, Panthers 78 and Irving Nimitz 32. Stephen had 20 and Jacoby 14 to lead the Panther scorers.
James Memorial Chapel is the only family-owned funeral home in Duncanville and is proud to offer caring and dedicated services from familiar friends. Rick James and his family, the owners of James Memorial Chapel and Funeral Home, have served Duncanville area families in their time of loss since 1998. A beautiful and spacious chapel is offered, and James serves all cemeteries. When it comes to finding people you can trust in a time of need, you can turn to James Memorial Chapel. No one else knows families better. 811 South Cockrell Hill in Duncanville.
Friday night, it was over to South Grand Prairie, and the Panthers had beaten them by 12 last month in Duncanville, but this team had qualified for the playoffs already, and early on, Stephen hits a rainbow. And then Jacoby feeds Cam for a soft dunk. And 1. Jacoby hits a runner in the lane. Welcome back, Jordan. But after 1, the Panthers trail 20-14. Douglas makes a nice baseline drive for 2 in the second. Have I mentioned that Cam is left-handed? Halftime, 30-28, Warriors. Jacoby nails a rainbow early in the third quarter. And then Cam stops and pops. But after three, the Panthers continue to trail 54-47. Did I mention that the worst officiated game almost every year is at South Grand Prairie? Look at this. Jacoby is fouled by not one but two Warriors, but is called for the foul, and Coach Chisholm is right again. Jordan to Jacoby. And then on this inbounds play, Steven nails a 18.5-foot shot. CJ hits a late game three-point shot, but it's too little too late. Final, South Grand Prairie 77 and the Panthers 69. Cam had 25 and Jacoby 14 as the Panthers fall back into a tie for the district leadership.
Singla Dental, your hometown dental office, is a proud sponsor of our DHS athletes on Duncanville Weekly News. Singla Dental offers convenient, extended hours, and same-day appointments are available. Located at 541 West Wheatland with a website of www.singladental.com and telephone number is 972-298-4677.
The Panthers could pretty much sew up the district championship with a win Tuesday night over DeSoto. And this was as good a crowd as we've had for a while. Steven gets things going with a rebound and basket. Very slow offensive start for both teams, but Cam nails a three-point shot. Then Jacoby drives for two. And after one, it's 14-10, Panthers. In the second, Jacoby drives and dishes to Jordan for the hoop. Then Jordan hits a three-point shot. DeSoto rallied to take a 5-point lead, and holding for the final shot of the half, the Panthers and Cam cut the deficit to two. 28-26 at the half. Jacoby ties things up early in the third with this drive. But the Eagles scored 8 in a row to grab a double-digit lead. Cut by two by Cam here. But DeSoto hits this shot to beat the buzzer to end the third quarter. And the Eagles lead 47-35. Cam hits a shot early in the fourth quarter. Good for three. And Jordan makes a mini hook shot, but way too little, way too late, as the Eagles come in and whip the Panthers 67-46. Jordan had 12, Steven and Cam had 11 each, as the Panthers are now relegated to second place in District 7, 6A. You might have heard about this scuffle after the game. This is all you're going to see here. The boys in District 7, 6A have a couple of games left, and here are the current district standings. Well, the Panthers are going to finish second, it looks like, in district action. DeSoto, by virtue of their win, are probably going to win the district championship. There's still 2 games left. South Grand Prairie is 9-3, and Cedar Hill is 7-5. Those 4 look like to be the playoff teams. But with what happened last Tuesday night in Duncanville, with the riot, the Panthers have a shot to win the district championship now because DeSoto has said that they were going to forfeit their last 2 games. So we'll see what happens. Upcoming for the Panthers' last 2 games are, with 2 games left, the Panthers will be at MacArthur Friday the 9th, and then Tuesday finish at home against the Grand Prairie Gophers. Then they're probably going to be off a week unless there's a playoff game, and that's when by-district will start, Tuesday, February the 20th. The Pantherettes have finished their regular season and are fixing to head into the playoffs, and here's how they did their last 3 games. When Duncanville was at Nimitz, we mentioned how dark their gym was, so to be nice, I offered their coach some sunglasses to wear in the Sandra Meadows since it was so bright. But, well, she thought it was a joke. It was parent night, and who else? Zay Green's family is recognized, along with all the others.
Thank you, seniors, for the past 4 years.
But it's game time, and it was all it was stacked up to be, a blowout. Anaya steals and scores in the early going, and then Zay inbounds to Hannah for an easy 2. When Hannah misses, Chris is there to rebound and score. Ash is in and works the lane for 2. And then Kinley scores on a steal. And after 1, it's 16-5, Pantherettes. In the second, Lauren is loose and gets a snowbird. And then Hannah takes Anaya's pass for 2 more. Zay, 2 and 1. And at halftime, it's 38-17, Pantherettes. The parents' free throw champ, right there. In the third, Naya spots Kinley in the lane for 2. And after 3, it's 52-23. Angel scores in the fourth. Rare in this game, a 3-point hoop from Asha. It's over. Final, Pantherettes 67 and Nimitz 30. Chris had 19 and Hannah 16 as the Pantherettes clinch the District 7 6A championship, their 8th straight.
The Wolverton Company, serving the Duncanville, Southwest Dallas area for over 78 years. Wolverton has been a proud sponsor of Duncanville Weekly News since their day one in 1991. From HW to Thomas to Keith and Matthew, Wolverton provides the best heating and air conditioning service there is. Call them at 972-296-COOL. That's 972-296-2665.
On Friday night, it was over to South Grand Prairie to play the 6-6 in District Lady Warriors, and this was a close one. It's one of the worst places to watch a basketball game. You think you're a drone. The Pantherettes fall behind early. Zay gets whacked with no call. Finally, trailing 11-1, Chris rebounds and hits a field goal. Anaya follows with a shot from the top. But after 1, It's 13-10, Lady Warriors. In the second, Angel hits Zay down the lane for 2, but mostly free throws in a low-scoring second leaves it a 2-point deficit at the half. In the third, Zay makes a risk pass to a lonesome Hannah for a bank shot. And then it was Zay to Hannah to Chris for 2 more. Anaya hits a much-needed 3-point shot as the teams are trading scores. Down by 7. Zay finally gets one to go. This hoop by Hannah pulled the Pantherettes to within 1 point. But after 3, it's 4 points. 40-36. Hannah spots a cutting Angel for the basket. And then when Angel hits this rainbow, the Pantherettes take their first lead of the game with 5.5 minutes left. There's 13 seconds left in regulation, and the Lady Warriors hold a 1-point lead with Chris at the line for 2. She hits the first but misses the second. So we go to overtime at 46 apiece. Hannah scores early in the overtime. And Zay follows with a breakaway. Free throws iced it as Anaya and Zay hit 8 in the overtime period. Final, Pantherettes 59 and South Grand Prairie 52. Anaya had 16 points and Hannah 13. Chris and Zay had 11 apiece in a well-balanced offensive attack. The Pantherettes win number 34 on the season.
Leon Miller Commercial Properties is a proud sponsor on Duncanville Weekly News as he enjoys helping to promote our DHS athletes as no one else does. Leon owns office and retail space in the heart of Duncanville on Main Street. If you are looking for convenient, accessible, and well-kept space for rent, call Leon at 972-709-7181. He will fix you up.
To one of the largest crowds in a while, the Pantherettes finished their regular season against DeSoto. Down 4-0, 2 minutes into the game. Zay gets the Pantherettes on the board. And then Chris drives for 2. Anaya nails a rainbow. It's Chris to Hannah for the basket. When Angel feeds Chris for a layup, it ties the game at 11. As the clock is ticking down, the Lady Eagles nail a 3-point shot to take a 16-15 lead after 1. In the second, Anaya to Zay, 2. When Zay hits this shot from behind that arc on the floor, the Pantherettes take the lead. And then Hannah hits a mini hook in the lane. But at the half, the Lady Eagles lead by 1. In the third, Hannah plays catch up with this 2 and 1. It happens 3 or 4 times a year. Chris, 2, as the lead goes back and forth. And going to the 4th, it's 42-38 Pantherettes. This interception and basket put the Pantherettes ahead by 4 with a minute and a half left. 5 straight points by the Lady Eagles was overcome by this play. And then Hannah to Chris. But DeSoto answered. 2 free throws by Hannah flipped the lead back to the Pantherettes. And then with 7 seconds left, Zay gave the Pantherettes a 2-point lead. This half-court desperation shot at the buzzer is rebounded and put back by the Lady Eagles. So to overtime we go, tied at 59. In the overtime, DeSoto scored first, but it's answered by Angel. And then Angel scores again on a rebound. It's tied with 15 seconds left. When Zay hits 2 free throws, DeSoto tries an NBA 3-point shot that does not go. And Hannah rebounds and gets it up to Zay, who scores, but she didn't beat the buzzer, but 2 is as good as 4. Final 65-63 Pantherettes. In the second meeting of these teams, of 3 probably this season. Chris had 20, Hannah 17, Zay had 15. Next stop, by district. So District 7 6A girls is over, and here are the final district standings. Once again, the Pantherettes have won district, and they have won 110 games in district in a row. DeSoto and Cedar Hill are tied for second, and Irving MacArthur will be the other playoff team as they ended at 9-5. South Grand Prairie, Irving High, Irving Nimitz, and Grand Prairie are ready for some softball. The playoffs are here, and here are the upcoming dates and games for the Pantherettes. The Pantherettes by-district game will be Tuesday night, February the 13th, in Stephenville at Stephenville High School versus the San Angelo Central Lady Bobcats. That's right, a 2.5-hour drive each school. The winner of that game will play the winner of a by-district game between Trophy Club, Byron Nelson, and Allen or McKinney, the runner-up and third-place teams in District 5 and District 6. We'll be back on or before February the 19th with highlights of the Panthers and the Pantherette games whenever and wherever they may be. As we close, let's see some scenes from the City of Champions, and we'll see you February 19th.
Let's give it up, Duncanville, for your